Welcome back to another episode of the Bear Trap on the Boomer Buzz channel, a Bears podcast by a Bears fan. I'm your host, Terry, and today we're going to jump right into the nitty gritty. We got Caleb Williams versus Justin Fields as we continue to do, and kind of the factors revolving around that. So let's start. Let's start here. It seems after the combine that the scuttlebutt is that the Bears are going to take Caleb Williams, and that is the most probable outcome. It's not to say it's guaranteed, but that's the most probable. Would be surprised if they did it. And this has been the case. Now, I know there's the Justin Fields people out there. And look, as I said before, as far as me, that's what I would do. And I was last 51 on keep Justin Fields. And I'm right about 50-50 now. I'm kind of at 50-50. I'm really, as I said from the beginning, I've been on the fist. But as far as what the Bears are actually going to do, I think the probability has always been they're going to take Williams. Like that, I forgot which outlet did it, but they did the anonymous survey of the GMs. And this was in the middle of the season, and everybody said that they're going to move on from Fields and get Caleb Williams. So, as I told you before, when I first talked about it, when it was finally time, the thing that caught me, that made me feel like, yeah, this is more probable we're going to get Caleb, is the fact that one of the GMs said, you do not want to be the GM that goes down with somebody else's quarterback. And so, and obviously there's exceptions to that. If you somehow got the Chiefs job, you'll go down with Mahomes. But they didn't pick Justin Fields at the end of the day. And we have an unprecedented amount of potential assets moving around. So yes, you got to factor that in. As I said before, the reason I flipped to 51 keep Justin is only because of the potential assets you can build. And I know there's some people that say quality over quantity. Well, that's the thing. You're talking about first and second round picks. Again, I think people don't understand that. Like, we're not saying 10 picks in 2 drafts. We're saying 10 picks within the first 2 rounds. And so many people go crazy for the Detroit Lions. And while I don't think, again, as I've said, having a bunch of rookies doesn't mean it's all going to, be impact. I think all rookies get better. They should, at least. You don't want your rookie year to be a best year. All rookies take time to get better. And not all rookies play well their rookie year. And which is why I was talking about 2026 season. Because by that time, all of those picks will be veterans. But the point is, you got Detroit. You had Gibbs, big impact, first round pick. You had Sam Laporta, big impact, I believe, second round pick. And I know Brian Branch was a second round pick. And then you had the linebacker, who I don't think had as big of an impact, but first round pick. So you're talking about what they did with 4 players, now at 6 more. And so that to me is the exciting thing. That to me is what Poles has to decide, or the team. I really do believe, because as I said, I've been to the Bears. I've been to the Bears joint practice with the Colts and everything, and Eberflus is real close with them. There's a lot of connections between there, and because of my LB, I was able to be down there with the team. And I do truly believe off camera that Poles and Eberflus are very collaborative. I believe Eberflus, he's very much a coach. He's an old school coach. He's going to let the GM do what he has to do, but he wants to give his input, and I think it's collaborative. So when I say the team has a decision to make that is complicated because of these assets, but in any other circumstance, you take Caleb Williams. So anyway, I do think the due diligence matters. Some people, again, the thought has always been we're going to take Caleb, and some people might say, yeah, the combine didn't confirm anything, especially because he didn't work out. But I do think getting the chance to talk with him, again, I'm a percentage guy. I think getting a chance to talk with him was about 15%. I think 30% is going to be getting a chance to get him into the to facility for a workout. From what I heard, that they wanted Caleb to come in Tuesday, or today, like right after the combine, but he said that he didn't want to do any visits until after his pro day. So they really were like trying to move fast. So I think those two discussions are probably going to make up 45% of the decision. But I think the bigger part of the discussion was talking with other teams and the GMs. What are they thinking about in terms of the number one pick? What are they thinking about in terms of Justin Fields? And now that they have a good idea, at least of what people's initial poker face is, they can now adjust from there. So I think we're in a spot to safely say that Caleb Williams is the most probable answer in trading Justin Fields. But it might not come down to that. And well, this is organic, so I'm going to just go to Justin Fields. I want to talk about Caleb some more, but I'll come back to that. So right now, the discussion everywhere is that the market isn't as good for Justin Fields. Now, if you listen to me, you're a better Bears fan, you know that I've said a while ago that the fact of the matter is the best market, the most desperate market for Justin Fields is going to be in season. And there's so many people that are like, you're not going to have Justin Fields and Caleb Williams together. And again, to me, it's about the players at the end of the day. They know Justin very well. They're getting to know Caleb through, and make no mistake, the interviews are what's allowed, but they're talking to his team. They're starting to understand who the key players are. There's backdoor conversations. And so however you figure it out, you have to figure out, you already know Justin, but you talk to him too. You come to Justin, you come to Caleb, you pitch them the setup, and you see how willing are they to handle this. Because I do agree that this could really mess the locker room up if you do it the wrong way. But I think there's definitely a way to do it. And that is, you say, hey, Caleb, we know you want to get out there and play. We know you're a competitor. And my pitch would be Mahomes. Now, you go back, I don't know, I want to say around like Matt Stafford. So let's just say any draft before that. It is very long history of rookie quarterbacks sitting behind a veteran. And not just half the season, but for a minute. And so I think you tell him, okay, that is the formula. But also on top of that, you look at Patrick Mahomes and you see kind of what the benefit is. You got polls. He knows Patrick. Connect him to Patrick Mahomes. Let him talk about that. And so you could talk. Obviously, CJ Stroud's going to come into the conversation, but you really look at the longevity of history. And we say, look, Caleb, we know you got the NIL. We know you're professional, but let's give it 3 to 5 weeks. See what our practice schedule is like. See what traveling is like. See what the day-to-day feels like, and get to practice, and we'll see. And so if Caleb says okay to that, what happens is Justin can audition for other teams, and most of them know kind of what he is, and they understand that. But if he gets out there and you got a team that has an injured quarterback, or a quarterback that's just obviously not the answer, and Justin has shown you he's going to improve, because the thing is, if you keep Justin, you still have the number 9 pick. And that is so key. I have to keep saying that. you still have a top 10 pick. That means a top 10 player, or you trade back for more assets. Either way, you're going to have a team through free agency and draft that's improved. So in a new system. So Justin in his third system, playing well, handling it maturely, the situation, and competing. And again, he doesn't have to be great. Honestly, I think he could be almost about what he was last year. And teams are going to be like, I want that. And that's when the market is going to be the most desperate. And now you get a chance as the Bears to watch Caleb in practice. If he completely is not getting it, then, worst case, you keep Justin. You try to do right by him after that. But more than likely you get to see kind of where he is, what he's picking up, what he's good at, and you get an idea for what you have in Caleb Williams. And then when it's time to trade Justin, he wants a team that's going to offer him an extension. And so it's in his best interest to go out, prove himself well, give a team a reason to give him an extended contract. And then obviously we get better compensation. And so that's kind of the truth of the matter. Now, the opposite of all of that is what we have right now. Everybody's talking about how the market's not there because nothing has moved. And so the market has told you that we think there's better options than Justin Fields. On top of that, the market knows that you probably they know you're going to get Caleb Williams more than likely if you move on from Justin. So there's no urgency on our part, except we want a quarterback. So people can posture. That's why I said people gave you their initial poker face. Now, by the end of this week, if Atlanta has come to an agreement on the deal, and there's rumors out there that Kirk Cousins is shopping for houses in Atlanta. He already contacted Kyle Pitts about number 8, all that. So if the Falcons come to an agreement on the deal, once that drops, the tone is going to change. He's the first domino to drop. A lot of people, including Bears fans, thought it was Justin Fields. No, the first people feel Kirk Cousins is better. At 35, he's a better option. And so once that domino drops, then teams are going to be like, okay, what are our other options? As you get closer to the draft, they're going to get more desperate. You get closer to the draft, because by the time you get to the draft, you're on the third wave of free agent, or technically the second. Third would be after the draft, but you're after the first wave of free agency. If you want your starter to be a second wave free agent quarterback, probably not going to be well. So by the time you get to that, teams are desperate. Now they're like, okay, what can we get in the draft? Now you think about Denver Broncos. Are we worried about people jumping up to get McCarthy? Do we even like JJ McCarthy? Do we want to go with Penix? All that. The answer for those wondering, the answer is you do want to get a rookie quarterback if all things are equal, because the rookie quarterback is cheaper. We all know that. But I would say this is that Justin Fields is not on a big time deal. We're going to have to opt into his fifth year option. I don't even know why that's a question. We should have did it already. But so a team is going to get him. They're going to get him for this year. They're going to get him on his 5th year. And then they have to pay him big. So you still get 2 years of Justin Fields before you got to pay him big. So it's not Kirk Cousins type money, but it's not as cheap as a rookie. And so teams are always looking for the cheaper quarterback if the skill level is equal. And so as we get closer to the draft, people are going to panic. As you get after the draft or the first 2 rounds, people are going to be real panicked. And after the draft, people are going to be panicked. And I'm telling you, once you get into the season, because there's going to be a time around training camp where it's like, it is what it is. we got Garner Minshew or we got whoever, and they're going to tell you all the right things till you start playing football and you're like, nah, that's not it. Then they're going to be at all-time panic because they don't want to get fired. So for people that are kind of, worrying about the Justin Fields trade market, to me, it's always going to increase as you go along. That's what I've been saying this whole time. Unless somebody was in love with Justin Fields and just didn't care, they're not going to give you a great offer right now. Even if you love Justin Fields, you're not going to give a great offer because you get to Indianapolis like everybody else and you hear Bears are taking Caleb Williams. Okay, let's not be desperate. But as free agents start to get signed, options start to get less, teams will get desperate. And that's when the Bears will be able to strike. So this might not be this week. Hey, they could turn around and do it tomorrow. But in my opinion, I think the market is going to be better the further we go along. Now, obviously, the Bears want to get it done before free agency. That's best for the other team. That's best for us. That's clean. But that's not the game we're playing. The game is a little dirty. So I do think, personally, either during the draft or after the draft is probably when it will happen. But we'll see once Kirk Cousins signed, because I don't know. I know Kirk Cousins is the top prize, but I don't know how much people really love him. And I don't know how much people really love McCarthy and Penix. And I don't think they should, but we'll see. So that's that on the Justin Fields trade market. And then lastly, I'll say this. I mean, again, it's looking like Caleb. So I feel like with Caleb Williams, what I said was important enough to reiterate. And I will continue to say it's not what you do, it's how you do it. People all over, sports media, Bears fans, anybody that talks about this stuff, that aren't really into evaluation, they make the same mistake. And I keep saying it, and I want you to understand it as better Bears fans. The job is not to think about translation into the NFL for Caleb Williams or any prospect. The job is to think about projection. You have to project. And I'll say it like this. Let's just say, this is a weird example, but let's just say you were trying to race. You were trying to race, get into a race, and you're looking for a car that you want to race. You look at however you want to look at it. You want to go to a dealership, you want to go see somebody's used car, whatever. You don't look at the car and say, okay, this car does this. It drives this fast, it gets up to this speed, it accelerates, whatever. Okay, that's not going to be good enough when I get out there in the race. So I'm passing on that car. That's not what you do. You look at the car, you say, okay, this is what it can do now. Now, I have the ability to add this to it. I have the ability to add this to it. And that will get it to this level. Is that level where I want it to be? You have to project. You can't translate. You can't. So everybody's like, okay, Caleb is doing this in this play. That's not going to work in the NFL. We know that. That's not your job. Like, if you see a play where you're like, that's an NFL play, cool. That gives you some information. But you should expect that most of the college game, especially now, is not going to be NFL situations. And so you have to look at what they're doing in that play, either physically, either technique-wise, either mentally, and you need to say, okay, how does that fit into what we want our NFL quarterback to be? Is that something that's a positive, or is that something that's a negative? And really, you look at all the positives. You say, these are the tools Caleb has. Okay, now we need to think about what things will help get him to the level we want him to be. For some quarterbacks, you're going to need everything in the world. You're going to need a top 2 offensive line. You're going to need 2 all-pro receivers. You're going to need the best offensive line. And obviously, that's not a good investment for you. For certain quarterbacks, you like, look, the O-line, like a Joe Burrow. The O-line, well, really, I will say this. His pocket presence and everything, yes, that told you that he could work with a dirty pocket. Obviously, you didn't really know if he could be with a horrible O-line because he wasn't with one in LSU. But you could say, as a scout or somebody in the room, his ability to work the pocket is going to help save him from a lot of hits. He'll take some, but he doesn't need a top 5 O-line. And that's what you got with Burrow. But we would like to have him with these targets because of XYZ. That's what you do. It's about projection. So that's fine. If you really know how to evaluate Caleb and you come away saying he's not it, or you come away saying, I think this person's better, that's fine. But that evaluation is not, oh, he runs around and he's not going to be able to run around in the NFL. We know that. I don't understand why everybody can understand and grasp the fact that Patrick Mahomes is not the college Patrick Mahomes. Josh Allen is not the college Josh Allen. Lamar is not the college Lamar. This is the NFL version of them. I don't understand why when it comes to Caleb, people are just completely ignoring that fact. So for us as a team that is potentially and more probably going to get Caleb Williams, and you're not sure, you're a Justin lover, or you're just curious of what we're going to get, you got to understand this guy has elite pocket awareness and presence. And I saw some people say he doesn't, which is insane. And I'm not going to get to the nitty gritty of football, but if I had some tape, I would show you the ability to move around in the pocket is very different than somebody that just exits the pocket. Because he moves a lot, people say he doesn't have presence, that he doesn't have awareness. That could be further from the truth. In order to move around in the pocket, to move up, to climb the pocket, move back, climb back, to move back, move left, climb up to the right. To do all of that, you have to know what you're doing, else you would get knocked out. As somebody, a quarterback that just takes off and runs out of the pocket, like a J.J. McCarthy is who I can think of this year, and other quarterbacks in the past, that's different. You don't have pocket awareness. You just want to get out of the pocket and get on the move. Josh Allen does that a lot. Obviously, he could play in the pocket now, but early Josh Allen, all he wanted to do was get out of the pocket. You have to think Aaron Rodgers. I told you. And I believe somebody said Caleb said Aaron Rodgers is the GOAT. I told y'all, Aaron Rodgers is the father of all the modern quarterbacks now. So you have to think Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers extended plays, he moved out of the pocket, he did all types of stuff. Would anybody say he has no pocket awareness or presence? You must be insane. Mahomes, very similar in college, had to learn when to stay in the pocket and make a play. And so does that eliminate his ability to move the pocket and move throughout? No. But what he does is understanding when to turn it on, when to turn it off. And to be honest, Caleb didn't have an offensive line that allowed him to turn it off. He was always Superman. And so you get not only coaching, but because everybody's like, what can be coached, what can't be, which is true. But really, you get a supporting cast. Our O-line's better than USC. And I don't agree with this Justin Fields was running for his life last year. Now, the year before, we could have that convo. Last year, he was not running for his life. We got beat on stunts and twists too often. We weren't excellent. But a lot of straight up one-on-one protection. Justin had more time this year by far than what he had last year. And so Obviously, we expect to add to the O-line. So whatever we're going to roll out next year is going to be better than what Caleb had at USC, where those guys probably not even getting drafted. And so that's, again, another part. People want to translate. They want to pick up what Caleb did and plop it into the Bears. No, he's going to be with NFL talent now. And so you have to really understand how to evaluate. You look at how he's doing it, not what he's doing. You see all types. You see a play where somebody jukes like 7 guys or breaks like 4 tackles and gains a yard. Obviously, what he did was gain a yard. Okay, that doesn't sound impressive, but you watched how he did it. That tells you a lot about his ability. And so you watch Caleb, whether it's an interception, a touchdown, an incompletion, whatever, and you see what the ability is, and then you have to project, okay, if we hone it the way we want into a winning quarterback style, what's his NFL play style? And that's what everybody is calling a generational talent, because the tools you're working with are great. And again, last thing I'll say, look at, I don't watch college. I never really watched it, but you got guys that are the winningest quarterbacks in college. You got guys that won multiple championships in college, and look at what they're doing. Not everybody's bad, but you look at what they're doing. So everybody wants to say, well, he didn't produce in college. Look at some of the best producers for their career in college. Doesn't always mean they're going to produce in the NFL. This is not about translating. It's about projection. Pat Mahomes didn't rip up the NCAA, but he's ripping up the NFL. Josh Allen was very much not what he was before. Even Justin Herbert. But you go down the line, it's about projecting to what they'll become. So that's it for me. Go down the comment section. Let me know what you think. Share it around. Get the conversation started. Thumbs up. Subscribe. And remember, stay up and bear down.